a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the restricted section, in which I am breaking up with Harry Potter, and it's the most traumatic breakup of my life, including mom and dad's divorce. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Chapter 23, Horcruxes, in which we finally get to see Professor Slughorn's real memory, where he explained Horcruxes to Tom Riddle, and then we chat about it. And we're going to chat about it. I'm your host, Christina. I'm delighted to be joined today by my friend Josh from Super Scary Podcast. Say hello to the listeners, Josh.
Hello, listeners.
And we are also joined by my dear friend, Michael Boothby. Say hello to the listeners, Michael.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? You can't talk back. That's weird. I don't know why I did that.
They're like, hey, Michael, good to hear you.
Yeah.
Good to hear your voice. Mike, you were on the podcast very recently.
I was.
Because you are the kind of friend who says yes.
I am.
And it's my favorite thing about you. You've actually come on a couple times this book. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. It's one of my
Josh, you have not been on this book yet. Is that right?
That is correct.
Whoa. Okay. So tell me, where does Half-Blood Prince fall for you in your ranking? How much do you like it compared to the other books?
This was one of the books that I got from my Nana for the midnight, releases or whatever. So I remember reading it at least once, but it just didn't I feel like it's lower in my tier. I feel more nostalgic about books 1 through 3, I feel like.
That's a really good point because I think that the nostalgia does play a huge role in how much you like Harry Potter.
Yeah. So I feel as I think my Nana wrote in the book when she got this. Oh, July of 2005.
That's really cute.
Yeah. So
did she write a message to you or anything?
Yeah, she did. It says, Joshua, I hope you enjoy this book. We love you. Nana and Papa Ken, July 2005.
That's really, really cute. That's a really cute thing to have on the inside of your Harry Potter book, something that will have for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I have this problem where people give me gifts of books a lot because, hello. And,
Book queen.
Book queen. And most of them come in at about, under $25 a pop. So it's always appropriate for Secret Santa or whatever. But a lot of times people, especially my parents, will write something like that on the inside cover, which is so sweet and nice. I love it so much, except books come in and leave my life so quickly. They come and they go, and I cannot keep all of them. I can't even keep all the books my mom has ever gifted me. Could not fit on a shelf. I got to get rid of them when I finish reading them sometimes. And then I have to take the Sharpie and exit out because I don't want the next person seeing the sweet words my mommy wrote to me.
I just imagine you with a Sharpie just being "Gah, gah." You're I'm done with this book.
Gotta drop it at the little free library. The other day though, my mom was at my house and I was like, Mom, here's the books I'm giving away. Do you want any of these? I think I got you guys with that too. Oh, take my books.
Yeah.
My mom was like, these ones are actually mine, and I lent them to you. And I was like, oh, sorry, I did not read those. So sorry.
Whoops.
Let's get to it. Let's talk about the superpower of love.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which Harry is really underwhelmed with.
Yeah, he's like
this is way less cool than what Voldemort's doing.
It's true. Before we start, though, we do have a listener email.
Ooh.
It's a shorty, aka Mott's didn't write it. This one's from Chloe, and this is regarding the Unknowable Room episode, which came out a couple weeks ago. Chloe says, I have a couple thoughts about the Unknowable Room episode. First, Tonks is upset at Lupin. Harry just thinks she's upset about Sirius. I think that I was really high when we were having this conversation, and I tuned out by accident, which is the dangers of driving your podcast high, is that you can tune out and then you're like, oh no, I'm in charge. I feel like I answered Andrew when he was talking about this. I answered it like really stupidly, or maybe not at all. I was like, anyway, because I had tuned out by accident. So if anyone was confused, Chloe is clarifying. Tonks is upset about Lupin. Harry just thinks she's upset about Sirius. That's something he came up with all on his own because he thinks it fits what he's seen. It like doesn't occur to him that Tonks could be in love with Lupin, which she is right now. It also fits Lupin, but that doesn't become clear until later. Also, Chloe goes on, Tonks' mother, Andromeda, was Sirius's first cousin. From what I found online, she's the daughter of one of the Wahlburgas brothers, not Wahlberg, Wahlburgas. So in that episode, I thought I remembered that Tonks and Sirius were first cousins themselves. And I even felt like I looked it up online. And I think that in the episode, you hear me say, I'm going to look this up online. And then I'm like, confirmed what I said was right. But it wasn't. So I'm dumb. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I fact checked it and still got it wrong. But this sounds right to me. Did not fact check it. Trusting Chloe here. Tonks' mother, Andromeda, was Sirius's first cousin. So like, how is if that's the case, Tonks' mom is Sirius's first cousin, then what is their relationship? Is that a second cousin? Is that a first cousin once removed? Do you just call him a cousin and not worry about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of funny because Frank's family has some of that where it's like some of his second cousins are like the same age as him or like vice versa. Like it's just kind of like a weird, however the cookie crumbles. But yeah, they all just call each other cousins. But I think technically it's your second cousin. Like I guess Tonks would be Sirius's second cousin in this case.
Yeah, I think that the reason we were talking about if they're cousins is because Harry is like, oh, Tonks was probably in love with Sirius. And I think that for the purposes of that conversation, they're just all cousins. You probably shouldn't be in love with any of them.
Yeah.
That's a cousin.
Yeah, unless if Great Britain is like, the deep south, they're the freaking stereotypes of that,
Joshua, there's only like 8 pure blood magic families left, and they have to interbreed so hard to keep that. I feel like I know,
not the interbreed.
I know. All right, well, thank you so much for that, Chloe. Listeners, always fact check me. I mean, always tell me. You don't have to do that, but if you know that I'm wrong, let me know, because I stay wrong. So let's talk about chapter 23, Horcruxes. And goddamn, we're finally here, guys, at the plot of the series. We've only read 6.5 books to get here.
We finally did it. We did it, Joe.
5.5 books. Yeah, she's really plotting so hard right now. So in the last chapter, Harry Potter got his teacher, Slughorn, drunk and coerced a memory out of him. It would feel icky if it wasn't to save the world, so I kind of get it. He's running at the beginning of the chapter. He's like running right after that into the castle after getting the memory, and he can feel his Felix Felicis wearing off. We don't need it anymore, though. When he gets to the common room, the portrait lady, who every time they call her the fat lady now, I'm like, come on, man. Her name is Denise. Like, why are we doing this?
He probably could have used that Felix Felicius in this moment just to, kind of convince her to get into the damn common room.
She says that the password changed at midnight, which is such a cunty thing to tell to a child who's trying to get into a safe space. And then Nearly Headless Nick drifts by and tells Harry that Dumbledore is back from his travels. He's in his office. So Harry runs off, and Denise, the portrait lady, is like, wait, I was lying. I was mad at you. Come back. You can come in.
and actually screams the secret word after him. So it's like imagine
Providing
if
a
like
whole
freaking his boyfriend
whole
Draco is like
security
listening.
breach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now they have to change the password because great, Denise.
So Harry runs straight to Dumbledore's office, which Dumbledore's like, what the fuck? And then Harry's like, I got the thing. And Dumbledore's like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, he's so ready. He just got back from traveling.
You got a burn up hand, like, but he's ready to go.
I'd be like, I'm going to take a quick night. You come back in the morning. I was going to say nap, but then I swerved. You need the full sleep at that point.
Dumbledore's just like so supportive though. Like he's like not even pissed. To what do I owe this very late pleasure? Right? Even when he's upset with Harry, he's like, I'm gonna make this positive and be excited.
Yeah. Well, and it's just he can read minds. Anytime he asks a question, I'm like, but you already know. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. What is this bit you're doing?
He's trying to relate to other people.
He's like, what would it be like if I had to ask for my information?
What do normal people do?
It's funny because he's been trying to get this memory out of Slughorn for so long. Can't you just read his mind when he's thinking about how he doesn't want you to see it?
Yeah. Yeah, why doesn't he do that?
It's late. Guys.
It's late.
It says right there. All thought of the lateness of the hour forgotten. I love this though because it's like that scene of the dude who just like whatever's on the desk, just like getting rid of all of it. You know, it always happens in every movie. It's like, Eureka! All of this shit doesn't matter. Let's move the plot forward dramatically.
Fuck whatever I was doing.
Yeah, right? Fuck all this shit. Exactly.
So we go into the Pensieve. We are back in Slughorn's office. And we replay the first bit of the memory from earlier. You know, they're like doing the slug club. He's eating his crystallized pineapple. He's like, oh, you clever boys. I guess it was boys only back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think there's any girls
that
there.
makes sense.
Yeah, which is like
It
mildly like weird, right? Like,
yeah.
maybe I'm just reading into it, but
I mean, I think it's sexist at best.
Yeah. I think in my mind when it cuts to the scene and it's like Tom's talking and like all the other guys are just like laughing in the background. I'm like, are we at Dead Poet Society? Is this that same?
Oh my god!
yes.
Same kind of vibes where like he's just like this leader of the boys, but he's like actually really evil.
We've been like closely following Slughorn this whole time because I've been really ready to attribute pedophile vibes to him. I'm so ready to call an old straight white man a pedophile if he gives me a single reason to. We're not fucking around in that territory anymore.
Period.
But I have not found a single thing in this book that is even like remotely inappropriate. Like he is definitely like very self-serving. He like is like has favorites. Like he definitely has like other flaws, but he's like strictly professional with the children in his care, despite forming a cult around himself.
Right. Yeah. Like that's just his ego, right? Exactly. He's like the teacher with the big ego who wants to feel important all the time. Right? He's not a bad guy. He's just very annoying.
Yeah. I think he sometimes is even kind of a good guy, but not really.
Right. No,
only by accident.
He's always serving himself, which is like what I think that's what this whole chapter is about because he ends up helping who becomes the Dark Lord because he has no boundaries. He's like, I won't do this. He's like, he has this club and he wants them all to like still talk to him and give him attention. So
totally, Riddle just had to butter him up a little bit with the crystallized pineapple and the compliments.
Riddle is so good at it, though. He's just like, I literally put in like maybe 10% effort and got what I wanted. Like,
well, and the way
you're about to talk about it. Yeah, when Harry, I was just gonna say when Harry is like talking about Riddle, he's like, God, he's perfect. It reminds me of the business card scene from what's that movie?
American Psycho.
American Psycho, right? Where he's like, oh, the font, crisp.
Very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman.
It's like literally like the whole paragraph. That's what he's like. Actually, he's like, damn, I could learn from this guy if I didn't hate him so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like the way that everyone, including like Harry and like Dumbledore and like everyone is always reminding us how hot Tom Riddle was in his young adulthood. Like I probably would have given him anything too. If he's that fucking hot. Yeah.
He's hot, he's charismatic, he's confident, he's all the makings of a dictator.
So
man.
in the Half-Blood Prince movie, there is a different actor from the Tom Riddle in the Chamber of Secrets. Chamber of Secrets, Tom Riddle. And I checked it. He was like 24 when he played that role. So I fucking checked it because he is so hot.
He could get it.
He is so extremely hot. That's the kind of Tom Riddle that I would join his cult.
Sure, Death Eater? Sure, I'll eat anything, man.
Oh my God. So Tom Riddle, canonically hot, says, Professor Slughorn, do you know about Horcruxes? And Slughorn is like, wow, this sounds like a really cool school project that you're working on, I assume.
Because why else would you be asking him about this?
And Tom Riddle's like, whatever you need to believe, dude.
Sure.
So we learn in this lesson from Slughorn that a Horcrux is an object in which someone puts a part of their soul. It prevents you from dying if your body is killed, but you can only make a Horcrux by doing murder. And I want to stop here for starters. I'm not here to say like, yeah, murder, but I think in the history of forever, some murders have been necessary or called for like self-defense reasons. I feel like maybe there is a murder that would not rip your soul in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is he saying that any and all murder rips your soul apart? Is that what he's trying to say here?
I feel like it is, which is insane because like there are murderers out there. Like, why weren't we talking about maybe Sirius Black having Horcruxes if he fucking mass murdered 12 people in the street or whatever?
See, that's a good point. That's cutting holes into the propaganda. See, that's Tina, you need to be reporting. You need to be out there in the world of Hogwarts reporting against the propaganda.
Well, unfortunately, I do know too much about Harry Potter, so I think that at the time, just no one had any indication what a Horcrux was.
Right.
Because they're learning about it right now in this very scene.
Exactly.
But it just seems wild. Like, if someone is like forcing entry violently into your home and you kill them to protect your children, and now your soul is torn in half.
But isn't that, I think it, but like, isn't the whole thing of the Horcrux is like you kill someone like with the intention of like putting a part of your soul into like something of theirs?
Murder feelings.
Yeah.
You have to know while you're doing it.
Well, because that's like, right, because it's like, that's how it's a Horcrux, right? It's like a dark magic spell. It's like, you're like, right? At least that's my kind of thing. Isn't that the whole thing of like dark magic and light magic? It's like, dark magic is like the other person doesn't consent to it. And light magic is like things that help people or things that are like neutral or like solving problems. Whereas this
that
is
makes
like
sense
destruction.
to me. Especially because at the end of the book series, spoiler alert, Harry Potter dies. And it's like the accidental Horcrux, the one he never meant to make. Like that shit was a fluke. And I think that means that people aren't just out here accidentally making Horcruxes left and right when they do murder. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that you're probably right about that.
Right. Which I think just like a step, it's like, what is murder, right? It's like, if we're viewing us all as like if we're all one, when you're killing someone else, it's like you're technically killing another part of yourself. And so when you murder someone, it's like the ultimate disconnection of love, unity, and compassion. It's like, right? It's like the worst thing that you could do.
Yeah.
So, Right. So that's why it's like, I feel like that's what's like, it's like you're creating this like buff for yourself as like a video game character, but you have to completely murder another character to get it. It's like you take their life as to just be a vessel for yours, which is, it's so
oh my God. That's so, putting it that way is so crazy,
right?
But
Isn't it?
Literally is,
because that's what Voldemort did. He's like he's like, I want to live forever. It's like, ooh, I'll have 7 lives like a cat, but in order to get those, he's like, fuck you in particular, you will now hold my soul, you will now hold my soul, and it's like, it's so gross. He's like a dragon. He's like a but that's why he's so evil.
It makes me wonder why some of the I know like the Death Eaters are just like his posse or whatever to
his cult.
His cult, yeah.
His sex cult.
Yeah. But you'd think like someone like Bellatrix would have learned how to do Horcruxes as well. I don't know. Just like certain people, maybe not to
That's
the
extent.
That's
a good question. No, I mean, that is a great question though, because wouldn't any of these other people be like, oh, I'm going to have all the Horcruxes?
Right.
It's a plot device, right? That definitely is like a whole, but...
That I think like even so I've always kind of wondered like why did Voldemort want to be immortal? Like his life wasn't that good, but someone like Bellatrix who grew up with money and power, that's a bitch who wants to be immortal.
Yeah,
more money, more power, more life. Like why is Voldemort? It's like because he's scared of death. It's like
exactly.
What it comes
that's what I was
like,
gonna say. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, why is he doing like? Why did he kill Harry's parents? Because he feared like this prophecy, and he's like, I want to live. Well, I don't want to die, so I have to kill this guy's parents, and then that like leads to it's just like one thought of fear rippling out.
Yeah. Fear is the mind killer. Sorry to pull Dune, but fear is
it's
the
true
mind killer.
Though. It's true. It's like when you look at your life, when you like feel fear, and then when you feel love and joy, like very different feelings.
Yeah. Wow. This chapter has so little in it, kind of. It's like most of it is just this and then like a lot of explanation. And I was like, I have a feeling we're going to get into some of the nitty gritty of this Horcrux fuckery.
The thing is, it's like this, even the concept of a Horcrux is like a really deep spiritual and philosophical concept that's like really interesting and really fucking dark. Like, I'm really happy they don't exist, right? Because like all these, but like, right, it's like when you think about these like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, all these people, it's like, what are they all doing all this? Because they're like fearing death and they want to be remembered forever. And instead of doing something really noble and great for humanity, they like hold on to their power and like force it all down our throats.
Whoa.
So
wow.
They're all Voldemorts. I mean, in a way, it's like, isn't everything they're doing
Voldemort?
Everything that they're creating is a Horcrux. Put that in the episode. Put that in the episode. Put that in the description.
But then we all have their apps on our phones, and like each one is a tiny little Horcrux.
Literally,
in a way, right? Because it's like, if you want to really get into it, like it's like, aren't we like giving a bit of our soul away every time that we use like something that is convenient, that is made off of the backs of suffering of people on this planet who we never see? And that's what this whole system is. This whole system is Horcruxes. But we can't like to choose to live without it all. They've made it difficult to. But that's the point. It's easy now. It's easy to use all of this, and now everyone's using it, and now our whole world's disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we the Horcruxes? No, I don't know.
So Tom pushes the conversation. He speculates that multiple Horcruxes would be much more useful than just one. Because, like math. Like, it's harder to kill 2 things than it is to kill 1 thing. It's harder to kill 7 things than it is to kill 2 things. So 7 is the most magically powerful number. That's like, I wonder if that's like a Wicca thing. It probably goes back like way further than that. I'm not sure the origins of the number 7, but you should write that down for a blog post, Michael.
I'm looking it up right now.
Thank you. But 7 is like a magically powerful number. That's why there's 7 fucking Harry Potter books. Like she really milks the number 7 in this series.
I will say, I know from just the tarot numerology that 7 is always the card for sacrifice.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
And magic always comes with a price. That's fucking Once Upon a Time, which I've been rewatching lately. Magic always comes with a price.
Hold on, this is actually really interesting.
You must sacrifice.
Yeah. So the number 7 in the tarot always indicates sacrifice, right? So in the tarot, right, there's like 4 elements, right? So a sacrifice of either passion, fire, thoughts, a sacrifice in thoughts, which would be air, earth, or water, right? So emotions and career instability. But what's interesting, right? Because what is a Horcrux? It's a sacrifice. A sacrifice is giving something up intentionally in order to get something. So the act of a Horcrux is a sacrifice. You're saying, I am sacrificing my like goodness and in beingness and wholeness to get like another life when I die. Whoa. So that's pretty deep. But again, that just came to me.
Wow, that's really interesting.
See, these are things that young Michael did not know when reading Harry Potter because he was just engrossed in the story and the character.
Yeah. Well, it's making me think because like I was just talking about Once Upon a Time, which like whatever you feel about that TV show, you cannot deny it has magic in it. And they say magic always comes with a price. And there's a lot of other like that's like a common trope, like you have to make magic cost something because otherwise in Harry Potter it's just like everyone takes it for granted that they can just do magic all the time and they just like can. It takes nothing out of them.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, the concept, right, of just like sacrifice and then what does it mean to be magic then? Like all these kids, it's almost like sometimes it's like they're like ungrateful. It's like it's like coming back to extreme gratitude and appreciation.
Dude, Harry Potter is the most ungrateful motherfucker on the face of the planet. He was taken out of orphandom and brought to a dream school where he could learn magic and have a family.
With a trust fund. He has a trust fund too.
With a trust fund. And he literally is like, are you telling me I have to write a fucking essay? And it's like, man, it's about transfiguration. You can do magic. Do your fucking essay and shut the fuck up.
That is like, it is true. It's like the whole series at any moment. It's like, dude, you'd be back with the Dursleys in a public school.
Like, I would be so Hermione, the way that she's like, I need to learn everything. Like, yes.
Hermione definitely just like from a spiritual perspective has the best mindset out of everybody in this book. Right? She is. She's really just, I mean, like sometimes in the beginning, she's a little self-aware of it. And like, she's like the know-it-all who wants everyone to know it. But everyone's like, please. But then when she learns to just really listen and like, and gets in touch with her emotions and her feminine side is like she's really able to like always really help people, but then she always comes in clutch for the crew as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's why we have to fucking take her out for the climax of every book.
Right.
Put that bitch in the hospital wing.
That's so interesting. Wow. Actually, but it makes sense. It makes sense. She's not. She's a writer, not a fighter. You know.
Okay. Dumbledore and Harry like pull out of the memory and go back into Dumbledore's office. So Tom did a Horcrux, or maybe 7 Horcruxes. That's what we're doing now. The rest of the book series is Horcruxes. It feels like a side quest, but it's the main quest though.
It feels like in a video game when you get to the end and the developers are like, they just want to like keep the game going, so they give you this giant fetch quest.
Honestly,
but then it ends with this like big battle, and that's like kind of what the 7th book is. The 7th book is a giant fetch quest.
I just recently did this for Final Fantasy X. I've been replaying it, and it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy.
It's one of my favorite Final Fantasies.
Yeah, so good. But like towards the end, it literally is just all side quests if you want to get like their most powerful weapons and you want like the most powerful spells and like all this equipment and shit. And then you like go into the battle with Sin is like the big bad guy.
The big whale, dude. He's like a big spiritual whale god that you go inside of.
Whoa.
It's epic.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So they like go into battle, and this is very like a religious-y magic installment of the game. Like I just recently realized that playing it, but anyway, I'm rambling on too much about it. But what was my point? Oh, that there was big fetch quest. That was my main point.
But Josh, did you do the lightning one? You know, when you have to dodge like 212 lightnings to get the ultimate weapon for the magician?
It is terrible, and I said fuck that. So I only got like 3 of like the most powerful weapons, and then I just used those 3 characters, and it almost felt too easy. So
yeah.
It's funny listening to people talk about video games that you haven't played. It's like, this sounds so made up.
Yeah, everything I just said in the last 2 minutes, Tina's probably like, I have no idea what you were just talking about.
I will say when I played Final Fantasy X when I was younger, I did get every legendary weapon, and I hated every minute of it, and it was not worth it. But it's like when I was a kid playing these games, and I was like, all my characters must be the most powerful. It had nothing to do with the story at that point.
Yeah.
It was just like I wanted my team to be smacking, you know?
Yeah.
I feel you.
Anyways.
We're talking about Horcruxes. Dumbledore is like, do you remember that diary that really, really, really hot guy came out of in the Chamber of Secrets? He suspected at that time that it was a Horcrux, I guess. So I guess Dumbledore has also known about Horcruxes this whole time. And when Voldemort died, I feel like Dumbledore was like, damn, I really hope that guy didn't have any Horcruxes.
Yeah.
And then in Chamber of Secrets, he was like, ooh, that might have been one of the Horcruxes.
Here's my question for both of you guys. Right? We are learning in this chapter what a Horcrux is. When do we believe that J.K. Rowling figured out what Horcruxes were and then had to like go back and retcon it all to make sense? Because when she wrote the first book, she had no idea what a Horcrux was.
I think it was... She? No. Okay. I think when she was plotting this book, she was like, what's the secret of Voldemort and how does Dumbledore die? She needed to figure out those 2 things. What's the secret of Voldemort and how do I get Dumbledore out of here so that Harry is so alone for the finale, the Dark Night of the Soul like moment.
The quest, right? I will say this. I will say like making the 7th book of Fetch quest was the perfect way to get it outside of Hogwarts and for it to make sense.
Yeah.
And for her to just kind of do whatever the fuck she wanted. She's like, yeah, we'll start it. We'll go to Gringotts. Yeah, we'll break out of Gringotts. Yeah, dragons, right?
Yes.
And then it's like,
whatever
she's just
you
like,
feel about Deathly Hallows, you have to admit that shit is happening.
Yeah.
Right, but like I think that's like almost the beauty of like this setup is like in this way, it's like we now know why our characters are going to where they're going. And then like, but it's like everything, all of the Horcruxes themselves are from Voldemort's past. So it's like, it really brings it all together in a really beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dumbledore is explaining when he was like, oh, fuck, that was probably a Horcrux. He explains that like, because Voldemort was careless with this one Horcrux, that indicated to Dumbledore that there were probably more of them. So like probably 7.
But we don't get a confirmation of that necessarily, right? Like
Dumbledore keeps being like, this is proof that I'm right. And it's just that that's not what proof is. That's proof that you could be right. Like you don't know for sure that he then went and made Horcruxes.
You know how Dumbledore comes across in this chapter? He comes across like one of those like psychologists in those true crime documentaries that's like, listen, I didn't know Ted Bundy, but this is what he would do, right? Like there's multiple times you're like, well, no, Harry. He's like, oh, he wouldn't have chosen that item. No, Voldemort would have done this instead. It's like he's like in his mind. Yeah, he's like his like mind hunters. Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah,
it's funny that like going off of that point is that he's going on for like 4 fucking pages worth, and Harry's just like, what? Like in between, like he's so dumb. He's so dumb in this chapter.
Down, Harry. God damn.
He's so dumb in this chapter. It's just
he's like really being a receptacle for the plot right now.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I'm counting like multiple times he says, I don't understand, sir. I still don't understand.
But I guess in a way, though, it's like, why is Harry doing that? Because, like, Harry is us, and we're like, whoa, what the fuck? What is this, right? So Harry is really just like us. He's the reader, right? That's why he's always unremarkable.
Listen. You know how like you make someone a Horcrux and you make them like a shell to hold like a piece of you. I feel like Harry Potter not only is a Horcrux for Voldemort, but he's like the Horcrux that holds this whole book. We had to empty him out so that we could fit this crazy plot into this book series. And he's like left as like a nothing person. And he's just like, he's going through the paces of getting to the end of the plot. And he has these little glimmers of character. But in the end, he's just a vessel. So there are 7 Horcruxes. Well, there's 6 because one of them lives inside Tom Riddle. Well, there's actually 5 because Harry already destroyed the diary. But actually, there's only 4 because Dumbledore destroyed the ring and he got cursed in the process. That's probably nothing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just have a really charred up hand. It's fine. Don't look at it.
So these Horcruxes could be anything. And we do get, I do love a lot of Dumbledore dialogue. I think that the way he says stuff is nice. And Harry's like, it could be anything. It could be in a field. It could be in a trash can. And Dumbledore says, I'm glad that you understand the magnitude of the problem or something like that, like very calmly. But luckily for us and luckily for Harry, Voldemort is a dramatic bitch, and he's not going to just make garbage a Horcrux, even though that's smart. He is going to use significant items.
Yeah.
What would you, Josh, your Horcrux be? If you made a Horcrux and you had to like make it something that you could protect, but also maybe would be like durable if anything happened to you. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, and also, who would you kill to make the Horcrux?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't know who I would kill. I feel like I'm not that type of girl. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of Republicans out there limiting a lot of healthcare access to women.
That's true.
There's so many CEOs too. I could give you a list.
Some CEOs. Yeah. Like there's some people
Michael Boothby's list of evil people who I'm not saying I would make Horcruxes out of, but you could.
Somebody could if they wanted to.
This is going to be one of my future blog posts that gets me like on an FBI watch list.
Just give me a list, Michael, and I'll do it alias style, like what's her name, Jennifer Garner, and she wears the different wigs.
Oh my god,
the wigs could be the Horcruxes.
Wait, this is close to what mine was. Okay, my Horcrux would be Donald Trump's toupee, and I would kill Donald Trump.
How are you going to protect his toupee once he dies? He's the vessel for the toupee.
Because the toupee is not a part of him.
What if it gets cremated alongside him or something?
Well, no, it's when I kill him, I'd have to take it.
You take the toupee.
See, then they find the body without the toupee. Dude, no one will even recognize him. They'll be like, that's not Donald Trump. Where's the toupee? And I'll be like,
Where
I got a second life.
Where are you going to store the toupee?
In my bunker.
On my head.
It'll be in my bunker in a glass case, just like on a mannequin of...
Josh just laughed so hard he knocked over the camera.
Please leave the sound.
It would be on a mannequin that is a 1-to-1 replica of Donald Trump's head, in a glass case, but he has googly eyes. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. That's funny.
Yeah. But that whole room has lasers and shit. It's like Mission Impossible. You're not going to get in there. So don't even try. Anyways, what about you, Tina?
What about you, Tina?
As for who I would kill, I'd have to do a little bit more research to see who's the most deserving. Kissinger already died, so
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I strongly feel that Mitch McConnell is right there.
Yeah.
So it would be like it would be a bit of a waste. When I could just wait a couple weeks.
You can wait a couple weeks.
I would definitely kill like a middle management level politician who's causing a lot of problems somewhere, but I would need to do more research. And my Horcrux would be, I'm like, what lasts forever? Microplastics.
That brown paper bag behind you.
Not the Kroger bag.
Kroger.
Yeah, I think maybe like a brick or something. And then I'm just like, hope this house doesn't get demolished. And I'm just a brick in a house. All in all, just another brick in a house. Probably the locket, probably the cup, probably something Gryffindorian and or Ravenclawed are his Horcruxes. So not the sword, though, because Dumbledore still has that. And
that bad boy right there.
So pure. I feel like what nobody says is Tom Riddle fucking hated Gryffindor. He would never have taken a Gryffindor item. The fucking nerd house.
I agree. He doesn't respect Gryffindor.
He doesn't respect Gryffindor. He probably doesn't respect Hufflepuff that much either, but they're too nice. He can't really muster the strength to be mad at them.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'll just have to kill one of you too, I guess. Oh my god.
So Dumbledore thinks that one time that Voldemort came back to school to get a job when he like obviously wasn't going to get the job, he thinks that he was looking for like artifacts then to Horcruxify. And then Dumbledore also thinks that Nagini is probably also a Horcrux.
That's a safe bet.
I'm glad that Voldemort has Nagini. Because he doesn't have anyone else in this world. You know what I mean?
Nagini really loves him. Especially like when you watch in the movies, he's like, Nagini. Nagini's like, yes, sir. He's like, yes, sir. Let's go.
Michael, have you seen the Fantastic Beasts movies?
I've actually only ever seen snippets of them.
Okay, because like I can't just let you say that without telling you that in the second Fantastic Beasts movie, which is a absolute shit show, we learned that Nagini is a person.
No.
Nagini's a human that gets trapped in this snake form somehow.
Really?
I don't really remember the details. Yeah, so that's a human.
Huh. So does the human in the snake actually like him, or is it under a spell?
I don't remember. I don't remember how she ends up that way.
Damn, that's kind of hard though. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you don't think Fantastic Beasts is canon, which I admire and respect, then that doesn't matter. But from a certain perspective, that's a trapped woman.
Whoa.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's got me thinking.
So I know. That's why you shouldn't just say dumb shit about the characters in your book series just because you want to make a movie.
Well, this is kind of related to my earlier question. Kind of. Why doesn't he just make all of his Death Eaters Horcruxes too? Like if he did that with Nagini and then just like hide someone away.
Make them into his Horcruxes?
Yeah. I don't know if that's possible though, but
yeah, because like I wonder if he even thinks you can do that to a human. And if he didn't have Nagini, then I would be like, yeah, he definitely just didn't think you could put it in a person or like a creature. But because he has Nagini, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't he try? Maybe he just doesn't fucking trust anybody. You know what I mean?
True, but like he's evil, so he could literally like, I don't know, take one of them that's like the
least favorite.
For like the least favorite, yeah, for lack of a better term. Like, and then just like chain him to a freaking wall and like enchant it and like basically like just, but that's like keeping another human alive. You know what I mean? Which is not really part of his character.
You have to feed them, but if you do like a tiara or something, then you don't have to feed that and take care of it. I guess you can just put it away in a room for 100 years.
True. That's true.
I just think that what we're getting at here is there's a lot of ways to do this that would have made it so Harry could not have killed him.
Right. Like he had so many Death Eaters. Granted, most of them get axed off, but like again, if you had just someone away in a tower like Rapunzel or something, like
yeah, and like he kills a lot of people. Like he could have just kept making Horcruxes. I get that 7 is a magically strong number, but a big part of that is because it's a prime number, and you know what else is a prime number? 111. Like that's a lot of Horcruxes. Why don't you try that?
Maybe it's like I have to believe that just like every time you split your soul, that it becomes like even harder to. You know what I mean? If you're like now he's like 1/7 of a soul in a body.
Yeah.
I have to just believe that like even doing 7 must have been like even like pretty fucking painful and hard.
It's like folding up a piece of paper. You can only fold it like so many times.
Yeah. I have to get.
Oh yeah.
Before we move further, I have to tell you guys, you know me. I Googled, is 111 a prime number? And it is not a prime number. It is divisible by 3, 37, and 11.
Chloe, can you write another email to fact check this?
Please help me.
Oh my God.
Dumbledore suspects that Voldemort had not yet made his final Horcrux when he tried to kill Harry. He saved, I guess this answers one of my sassy questions from a couple minutes ago. He saved, because he's dramatic, so much of this fucking story rests on the fact that Voldemort is very dramatic. He saved his Horcrux making for significant deaths. Instead of just having 111 Horcruxes, save them for the significant deaths. And overcoming Harry per the prophecy would have been very significant. But also maybe he used his murder of Frank at the Riddle house to make his final Horcrux. We don't know anything. We know so slightly much more now than we did before. This is what Dumbledore has been doing when he's been leaving the school. He's been looking for Horcruxes. And Harry's like, can I come next time? And Dumbledore's like, yeah. And Harry's like, really? I did not think you were going to say yes to that. We talk a little bit more. Does Voldemort know when a Horcrux is destroyed? Probably not. He's unfeeling, you know.
Well, that's convenient.
He's lost. Yeah, it is very convenient that he has lost touch with these isolated parts of his soul. So Dumbledore lays it out. Basically, this is how we win. With love. Even Harry isn't buying it.
That's right, Harry. We vibe. We never stop vibing.
He's like, oh my God, I know. I can love.
I like when you are 16 years old and you're being faced with like this Sisyphean treasure hunt. You're like, where could I possibly start? How could I possibly ever accomplish all of this? And Dumbledore's like, you know how you're going to get this done? And Harry's like, please tell me. All I need is guidance. And Dumbledore's like, love. And it's like, nah, man, do you have like a gun or something? Or like, can you give me like real tools?
So like a magic spell that I get, like a metal detector.
Dumbledore's like, I've been trying to teach you magic spells this whole fucking time, you idiot. You just hated doing your homework.
like a Sectum Sempra spell, which is the next chapter. Ding, ding.
I'm so excited for that one.
Oh my God.
Sectum Sempra.
I always use that line, like, so with Court, like, right, she'll just, like, when she uses, like, one of my jokes against, I go, you dare use my jokes against me? It happens a lot.
They are like yelling about the prophecy, and I just like don't really understand it or care. It's like when Sean tries to explain to me how my car is going to get fixed, and I'm like, honey, I'm paying someone else to worry about what is happening here. And he's like, but no, you should understand. And I'm like, I don't consent to hear this because it's not going to stay in my brain. I don't want to hear about your stupid prophecy about love magic.
I find it kind of funny that Dumbledore's like, but like, you don't get it, Harry. Like, Voldemort, like, you know, he put the prophecy in motion because he let himself be so enthralled by it that like he ultimately made the prophecy come true, right? Like so, and he's just like
Harry's like, who fucking cares? And I am with him. And then he's like, wait, I understand now. It's the difference between being dragged in and walking in with your head held high. What a Gryffindor bitch ass dumb fuck thing to say. That is not like a helpful or meaningful distinction at this time. Harry is obligated to this.
See, if I was Dumbledore in this moment, and I was just like, I would have been like, Harry, listen, you're really not getting it. I'm just gonna just listen to this song, and then I'd put on "What Is Love," and just like bop along, be like, "Do you get it? Do you get it now, Morty? Do you get it now, Harry? Love is a feeling. You have a vibe that Voldemort does not."
It's just like, I think that if you wanted love magic to be a thing that readers won't laugh at and groan at, you have to give it reality in the physical world. You have to say, when your mother died, she cast a spell inside of you that will live on because she loved you. That's where the power came for the spell. And because of that, you have a +5 to your armor class. Like, you have to like do something
he has like
meaningful.
Yeah.
It's like, because of that, Voldemort can't touch you, which is one of the very few ways we do see this power working. And that's weird because they do magic in this world. They don't need to touch each other. They got Mage Hand. I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate, a lot of D&D. It's just that because the love magic manifests in whatever the plot needs in a given moment, like Voldemort, like when Voldemort's chasing Harry in the next book and his wand like acts of its own accord, or like all these random things, and we're like, oh, that's the love magic. And it's like, it's just, you're just explaining plot holes with a Band-Aid that says love on it. Like, it's not working. It's not enough.
Not enough, but isn't that love? Can you ever get enough love, Tina? Isn't that same thought what led Voldemort to create a Horcrux in the first place?
Tina, the next time we play D&D, I'm going to ask Sean if I can cast a love spell.
Oh my God.
Everybody gets like, points of inspiration.
Yeah, it's like, great. We all feel great now because we love each other. Wow. Josh, do you have any final thoughts about the chapter now that we're here at the end?
Wow, that went so quick.
I know. And I feel like the whole thing was tangents. The chapter kind of didn't have a lot in it.
Yeah, a lot of Dumbledore rambling. That was 90% of it. I don't fully understand why we didn't get Horcruxes until now. I mean, I know it's a plot device, ultimately.
Because she just invented them.
Because she just invented them. But...
No, I know you think that it would have felt more... comprehensive throughout the series if it had been part of it the whole time.
Right. Like just little hints of it, you know? I mean, we obviously got it with the diary and Chamber of Secrets. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, that's really the only evidence that we have of that. So she's kind of like Michael said earlier, like retconning a little bit, but
For sure.
Yeah. But sure. Overall, I mean, now that we have what it is that Harry needs to do to win, like finally.
Yeah, we're like here at the climax. So listen, we only have 6 chapters left. Next week, we got Sectum Sempra. The next week, the Seer Overhead, which I don't remember what that's about. And then the next week, the Cave, the Lightning Struck Tower, the Flight of the Prince, the Phoenix Lament, and the White Tomb. I miscounted. It's not 6. It's actually 7, the most magically powerful number.
Sacrifice.
I sacrifice myself every day for this podcast.
Exactly.
So we're really gearing up here. As I said to Charlie earlier today, allow me to read it. A fun, gay, attempted murder moment before diving into the finale of this book. So Sectum Semper is going to be a fun one. And then we'll get killing Dumbledore. That's the next thing on the list. Check it off after we flirt fight in the bathroom. Check that off. Murder Dumbledore. Okay, check.
check.
Wow. Michael, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me at my brand new website, michaelboothbycreative.com.
Oh, hell yeah.
Where I'm writing every week about...
all shiny and new.
Yeah, right? It's beautiful. I'm blogging every week. I've got blog articles for the next 6 months on spirituality, creativity, pop culture, analyzing pop culture through the lens of spirituality. So... yeah, I'm looking to help people create. I've got a bunch of services on there. Otherwise, also Instagram. My Instagram is now michaelboothby_creative. So
nice.
Check it out.
Hell yeah. And what's something you've been reading or watching or listening to or playing lately you think the listeners would enjoy?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay, I'm always reading, playing, seeing so much.
I know.
What am I playing right now? Oh, I might have talked about this last time, but Weird West. I'm going to recommend this game, Weird West, because it was like free on PS5 a few months ago. And it's like this Wild West, like isometric third person kind of like RPG, almost reminiscent of like Fallout 2, these older games. But it has like you go through like 5 different characters and you play this like spirit that goes through 5 bodies, kind of like a Horcrux. It's actually kind of like a Horcrux.
Wow.
And so that's the thing. So it's like
the Avatar.
Right. Yeah. That's so you play through 5 different characters and you're like uncovering like, and so it's like the Wild West, but it's also like dark magic and werewolves. So it's like, it's a really fun story. I'm not going to say it's like the best game I've ever played, but it was a really fun game that did a lot of novel things and I enjoyed my time with it. So check it out.
Yeah.
Weird West.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Josh, where can the people find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me at Super Scary Podcast. That is my lovely horror movie podcast. We are currently on a little holiday hiatus, but I'm starting back up about mid-January. We cover horror movies every Monday. You can follow me at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials and email me at superscarypodcast@gmail.com.
Hell yeah. And what media are you going to plug this week?
Well, since I already mentioned it, I mean, it's a pretty old game, but Final Fantasy X, and there's a sequel called X-2, and it really contributed to my homosexual awakening, because it's about 3 strong, independent women, just traveling the world and fighting baddies. So,
Tina, you would love X-2. That is a bad
absolutely.
I've never played a Final Fantasy before.
Really? Oh my god,
yeah,
Corey hasn't either. God, oh my, you guys.
I don't know how that happened.
I'm gonna have to make a Horcrux now.
Well, they usually go on sale on Switch. They have a lot of remastered editions of all of the Final Fantasies.
Okay. Well, I'll try it out.
Yeah, so it's good.
Which one should I start with?
Well, thankfully, they don't really connect to each other. They're all like their own individual stories, so you can really start with any of them.
Okay.
I started with 8.
Really?
Everybody loves...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Starting with 8. That's... wow.
Okay, so I guess I shouldn't do that.
Well, everybody loves 7.
Yeah,
7 is like...
7 was my first, and I still highly recommend it.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 is like the darling. 8 is kind of the underdog. I feel like since it came after 7, it's like like people don't like it as much. Yeah. But I do suggest 10 because that was the first time they were able to use like voice actors and stuff.
Oh, nice.
In the early 2000s for like video games. So it kind of was a what's it? Mold breaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I love that.
It's a very good game.
I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And this week I'm going to plug the new Nicolas Cage movie, Dream Scenario by A24, whom we love because they were one of the very few studios that wasn't being struck during the strike because they just were happy to meet I don't want to say demands, the requirements.
I mean, it was kind of demands. Like they were
demanding, but asks. Like in a way where we support them, not where.
Yes.
So, Dream Scenario starring Nicolas Cage is about Nicolas Cage plays this old college professor and everyone starts having dreams about him. Like everyone in the world starts having dreams about like this guy. It's very like Being John Malkovich. Like,
yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah, it's really good. And I love Nicolas Cage. I think he does a wonderful job in this movie.
All right.
Also,
awesome.
It's freaking Christmas. It's Christmas week. It's actually Christmas on Monday. So I hope everyone has like a very happy holiday. If you're traveling, do that safely. If you want something snuggly, go hop over to Burn Before Reading, because our episode today is about Pride and Prejudice. It's very cozy little episode with Grace, whom we love. Frickin' cheers, bitches.
Period.
That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the Restricted Section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook @RestrictedSectionPod, or in our Facebook group, The Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy. I'm Christina Kahn.
And I'm Leela Hilton.
And this is Burn Before Reading,
the podcast about shiterature.
We're here to examine the terrible writing we did when we were younger.
Like that school project you were really proud of.
Or that poem you wrote when you got dumped.
Well, how about that apology letter you wrote to your mom when you got into that fight?
Or the song you recorded before you knew how to write music.
Okay, don't at me. And we're here to talk about other cringy literary topics along the way.
Like the Library of Alexandria.
And Dewey Decimal.
His name was Melville Dewey.
Oh, well, do we want to get the clips rolling?
I don't think I ever recovered from this in terms of being cool.
Why did I say any of this?
I do like the drama.
So there is actually quite a bit to unpack here.
Oh, all this drama was so addictive as a teenager.
There's no punctuation to it. I'll start with that.
I actually have no memory of this.
There were so many lies that I was telling it.
It's not terrible.
No one really taught me how to write a good short story.
That was a journey.
Listen to Burn Before Reading
every Wednesday, wherever pods are cast.
Check.
Until like 2 years ago, Chuk Chuk was something that I only ever heard in the occasional like hip hop song. You know how they do it sometimes?
Yeah. Mic check 1 2.
Deus Ex Media.